Good afternoon and welcome to Staff Chat. We're really glad you tuned in with us today. We are going to have a lot of fun. We decided it was time to lighten things up a little bit, and so we're going to play a game of Guess Who. So I asked each of our staff members to send me something that perhaps none of us know about them, and I'm going to throw those things out there, and we're going to try to guess who matches with what statement. So y'all ready to get started? All right. So the first one is this. I once spent the night in a hospital and had emergency surgery on my broken wrist from an accident on a church ski trip. Who do y'all think that is? Just unmute yourselves and you can say.
Dawn.
Gavin.
John Vigus.
I say
Becca.
Gavin.
I'm saying it's Becca.
It's Gavin.
Gavin. Yeah, I'm guessing Gavin.
John Daniels, did you vote?
Steven.
All right. With the person whose statement that is, raise your hand and tell us.
Show you the scar on my wrist.
What happened?
I snowboarding, and some kids said, "Hey, Gavin, you go first." And we were in a snowboard park, and I know how to snowboard. I've been doing it for years, but we were doing the jumps and the rails and all that stuff, and I went a little fast on the last jump and ended up landing on my wrist and breaking it, and went straight from the place we were skiing at to urgent care, and they said, "We can't fix this. I got to send you to an orthopedic." And they sent me to the orthopedic, and they're like, "I can't fix this. We got to send you into surgery." And then a doctor did an emergency surgery at midnight that night. And I spent the night in Virginia waiting for my parents to come get me.
Oh my goodness. Were you
The youth group left me. They went home. So I didn't even have a ride home. My parents came and got me. What'd you say?
Were you a member of the youth group or the leading?
I was the minister to the youth group. And
That's what I was thinking.
This is in 2014, January 2014. And I was leading this group on a ski trip, and I broke my wrist on the. I've been so worried about everybody else getting injured, and I was like, "Y'all, you've got to be safe. You got to be really safe. I don't want anybody to get injured." And then I broke my arm, and I have a plate and 8 screws in my wrist now, holding it back together. So if you ever want to see pictures, I have an X-ray of my arm, and it's super cool. But it doesn't flare up when I go through airport security or anything, so it's all good.
That's awesome. That's a great story. I should say that one for last.
Well,
right.
there you go.
Did you preface it with, "Hey y'all, watch this"?
Some of that was involved or implied as well, because we had all been doing the jumps and the rails and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, Kevin, you go first." I was like, "I'll show these kids," and I did.
Made you super cool. All right, here we go. Next one. I climbed to the top of a tree on the playground when I was in preschool. It would not come down, so the firemen had to use the ladder truck and come get me down.
Whoa.
I'm
betting that's Becca Jones.
That's my vote, Becca.
I'd say John Kimbrough is what I would say.
I'm voting for John Kimbrough.
Jane's smiling an awful lot, so I think it's her.
I'm also voting for Jane.
All right, who is it?
So I didn't guess that time, because that would be me when I was 4 years old. I never was one that enjoyed school a whole lot, so even with preschool, was trying to get away. My mother was not so happy when she found out. The good news was the fire station was just up the street, and so it became kind of a field trip that came to the preschool there at the town Fayetteville. The other preschoolers enjoyed it. The next week, my brother, who was 18 months younger than me, or who is 18 months younger than me, so the next week he and I ran away from preschool. Yeah, crossed over the big bridge. We were about 1.5 miles away. My mother was not happy about that one either. And we learned our lesson from that one.
Jim, I was going to say maybe you were scared and that's why you wouldn't come down, but now I'm thinking you were defiant and that's why you wouldn't come down.
I was a bit mischievous when I was a youngster. Yes. And my brother and I got into lots of stuff. You know, my dad was a highway patrolman, and so he worked a lot at night and slept during the day. And my brother and I, we got into a lot of stuff. That's why I say my mother was the one that usually came around to find us. And we never did understand why she would tell us that she loved us while she had that switch after us and straighten us out.
Yeah.
That would be me.
That was a different day. All right. That's a great story. All right. Next one. I worked at a bakery for 2 years.
I bet Jane worked at a bakery in New York City.
That was going to be my guess.
I'm guessing Jeannie. Is that you?
Yeah, I bet Jane.
Go with Jeannie.
I could see Jeannie because she loves to cook.
I do.
I bet.
I'm going to go John Daniels.
John Daniels, what'd you say?
John Vegas.
I ain't cooked a day in my life.
I didn't even start to think of that one.
Your poor
I
wife.
got Jane. I agree with Don. I think it's Jane.
All right. With the person who worked in a bakery, show themselves.
That was me.
Oh,
Yeah. So there was this little mom and pop bakery in downtown Cary, and they would take on high schoolers. So my last 2 years of high school, I worked there. And it was the funniest thing. Our baker made the best cakes in town, but he always burnt the cookies. So it was always mine and my twins' job to make all the cookies. And it was our favorite job because pretty much everyone there except for us was on a diet. So whenever there was any leftover food, we would get to eat all the leftover cakes and cookies and brownies. So it really fit me very well. It was a great job.
That's awesome. So some of you may not know the story. When Stephen first came on staff, we took a little staff retreat, and everywhere we went, if we had a little bit of leftovers, Stephen was going to eat our leftovers. He was constantly eating. I love it. That's great. All right, next one. I once dressed up like King Tut for a talent show and performed in front of 500 people to the Steve Martin King Tut song.
Kimbrough.
Don Vegas.
I would say John Daniels.
I'm thinking John Daniels.
He looks like a good King Tut.
I feel like Becca would do this.
I'm going to go with John Daniels.
It's not John Daniels. I'm gonna go with, oh gosh, Kimbrough.
All right, that's me.
Yeah.
Jeannie.
Yeah, senior in high school. Me and three, well, it was three of us total. I was not the King Tut in the middle. I was one of the ones on the side, but we were mummied up and we did the whole King Tut dance to the whole school. Can you believe that?
Holy.
All right, here we go. I have been to all 50 states plus 16 foreign countries.
John Vegas.
John Vegas.
John Vegas.
I'm it. That's right.
John Vegas.
I mean, the crazy thing, my dad was a fireman, and we'd get these long vacations every year, and I probably went to 35 or 40 states before I turned 16. So we were camper folks, tent campers and pickup truck campers and all sorts. So very fortunate to have a great family growing up.
What's your favorite state?
California.
North Carolina.
California. It has got everything there, boy. And I've only been there in the last 10 years. So, but it's been up and down that coast. Yosemite's my favorite place, but it's got more than just Yosemite, just the beaches and San Diego area and all those big, the Sequoia Park, the Redwood Park, John Muir Parks and all that. It's great. That's why people like it, I think.
Yeah, I think
Great weather. It
Mine
never
is-
rains in Southern California.
All right, Dawn. Okay. I once rode a horse for 3 days deep into the mountains of Lesotho, led by a Basotho speaking guide, sharing water troughs with sheep and eating convenience store candy and a granola bar.
That's Becca. Becca's the granola.
Becca Jones on one of her mission adventures. And
Yeah,
horse, I could not imagine.
I'm gonna say Becca too.
I'll go with Becca.
I'm going with Jane.
I don't know.
Y'all,
Between the two of them.
my battery is about to go away. I'm going to lose you guys. Wait a minute. Wait. Hang on. Hang on.
Is that a guilty plea?
I think it must be. I think it's her. Maybe she's going to come back with her little hat on that she wore while she rode that horse for 3 days.
Are you still there? I'm so sorry.
You're good.
It's me. Sorry.
What country was that
Pronounce the things that I butchered.
So Lesotho is the little tiny country inside of South Africa. And the day before I went to study abroad in South Africa, I ran into this lady. I don't even know, like, I don't remember now, but like at like Chick-fil-A or something. And she said, hold on, we're going to Barnes & Noble right this second. And she bought me a Lonely Planet travel guide. And she opened it up and said, if you do anything on your trip, you must go to the Malaya Lodge in Lesotho. And she like circled it in the Lonely Planet book. And I was like, I mean, I didn't even know her. And so my trip was wrapping up and I had like a week left. And I said, well, I haven't done this thing. And she told me I have to. And so I gathered, I had these 3 friends I had met in South Africa and said, let's rent a car and drive to Lesotho. And so we did. We like showed up. Lesotho is the most remote place in the world almost. And we drove on these like dirt roads into nowhere. I mean, there was nothing. They had a truck that came like twice a year to bring Pepsi to this place. Like, I mean, it was so remote. Anyway, when we got there, we got on these Basotho ponies, which are these really sure-footed ponies. And our guide literally spoke no English. And we said we want to go on a trip. And they took us for 3 days out on these ponies. We went for miles and miles and miles into these mountains. And I was like just this student. I didn't have any like appropriate camping gear or anything. And it rained and rained and rained. And we got soaking wet. And literally all I had with me was what we had bought at the gas station. So like we lived before we crossed over. So like we ate like granola bars and candy bars the whole time. And then the guy was like, you have to fill up your water, like water here. And it was where the sheep were eating too. Y'all, like we would pick up this stuff and there'd be like sheep hair in the water. And we just drop in one of those little tablets. We did have water purification tablets with us. But then there'd be like,
Not going to get the hair out.
Anyway, on the 3rd day, we showed up at this little store. It was the only sort of civilization we had seen. And we walked into this little store and y'all, there was a Coke in a bottle. And it was hot. It was probably 120 degrees. And I said, how much? And they told me some price. And the South Africans that were with me said, don't pay that. That's a ripoff. I said, it could have been $200. It is purified and it is made with fresh water. And so I drank that hot Coke and bought one for everybody and my guide. And I was like, y'all enjoy because we're going to survive. We're going to get back home. It's really one of the most amazing experiences.
That's awesome. Okay, you win. Great story. That's so good.
So random.
Did you know you were going to be gone for 3 days?
We were not sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we said, like, I think we had a choice. Like, they can, like, we could have done a 3-day, a 5-day, or a 1-day. And so I think we were kind of like, yeah, like 3 days. But we didn't know, like, is that 3 full days? Or, like, are we going to get back in the morning? Or it was 3 full days on a horse.
Wow.
Probably about 21 hours on a horse.
Wow. Okay. That's great. Okay, next one. Okay. I never attended seminary chapel services. I never attended seminary chapel services.
John Daniels.
John Daniels.
John Daniels.
John Daniels.
I think it's Jane Davis.
I think I went twice a semester, usually the first day and the last day. But I'm thinking John Daniels never went.
I am appalled that you all would pick me because it is me. But actually, the joke is on all of y'all. It wasn't my irreligiousness that kept me away from chapel. I worked in the school's post office, and I was working every day and couldn't attend chapel.
Yeah.
Although the statement is true, I had a very good reason.
Yeah.
A likely story. Hmm.
That's funny. John, Don, you didn't guess who it was. Did you think it was John?
I thought it was John. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hurt his feelings for everybody voting for him.
Okay, next one. I declined an invitation to meet Katherine Hepburn.
Jane?
Jane? I don't even know who that is, but Jane.
Not know who that is.
I think Jane was in New York, and so she's in Hepburn. That'd be a New York City sort of person. So we'll give it.
It's gotta be Jane.
We'll go with her. And I assumed that Kimbrough and Gavin had no idea who that person was.
People.
I know Katherine Hepburn. I'm insulted.
All right.
It is me. So I
Tell
told
us
you,
who she is.
it's probably going to give it away because half of the people won't even know who Katherine Hepburn is, John Kimbrough. But anyway, so Katherine Hepburn I love Katherine Hepburn. I loved watching those old movies with her and Spencer Tracy, and she was starring on Broadway. And I wrote for the paper in my high school, and one of our graduates was co-starring with her on Broadway. And so I was assigned the task of going to interview her. So not Katherine Hepburn, the other person. So I went and I interviewed her. She took me to lunch. It was great. And we walked back to the theater and she said, why don't you come inside and I'll introduce you to Katherine Hepburn. And to this day, I can't tell you why I said no, but I was just so nervous. And I thought I'm going to look like an idiot. And I love Katherine Hepburn and she's going to like be, oh, she's so stupid, you know. And so I didn't go. And I have very few regrets in my life, but that's one of them. So.
That's a cool story, though. You were close to Katherine Hepburn.
Across the door, just the other side of the door.
The other side of the door. Okay, y'all go look up Katherine Hepburn movies. Maybe you'll recognize her. All right.
Your education's not complete if you don't know who Katherine Hepburn is.
Right. Yeah.
I know who Audrey Hepburn is. Related? No? Okay.
All right. I used to bag groceries competitively in an annual Grocers Association bagging competition.
Kimbrough.
Kimbrough.
I would
Yeah,
guess
John.
Mike Queen, but he's not on this particular one. So we'll go with John Kimbrough.
All right,
Well,
John.
considering I got the last one, yes, that is me.
Sorry.
That is me.
That's good.
Yeah, there was a movie made about I think it was a comedy movie about professional bagging, and I haven't watched it because I don't know, it's not a joke, guys. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, I worked at Publix for 5 years. Started working there when I was 14 as a bagger, and wound up doing cashier stuff and stocking shelves when I got a little older and everything. But yeah, my manager at the time, I was having fun with it. It was like Tetris for me, you know, like having things come down and I got to put them in the bags and whatnot. And so my manager at the time, her name was Mary Jo Bishop. She was like, you're pretty fast at this. Have you ever thought about doing it competitively? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Turns out there is a national bagging competition. So then it was awesome because for like 2 months out of each year, they paid me to come in and train and like get my speed up bagging groceries. Y'all, I used to have dreams about like things like groceries coming down the line as fast as they can. And like, I'm dreaming of putting stuff in bags and like moving them around. Like it got a little crazy for a little bit there, but it was a lot of fun and it was a cool thing to do, I guess. I still sometimes when I'm like at Harris Teeter and somebody's bagging things wrong, I'm a little triggered, just a little triggered. I'm like, that's a crushable item. You cannot put that on top of that, but it's fine. It's all good.
I was going to ask you if you were bothered by groceries not in your bag correctly, because I really am. Like the avocados in the bottom and there's something heavy on top of them. That just really bothers me.
Crushable item. That's a crushable.
And don't put my turkey in with my raw meat. Come on.
Yep.
Well, this was fun. Jim Baldwin, unfortunately, couldn't be with us this afternoon. A sweet family friend of his passed away, and he's in Burlington doing that funeral, and so we really miss him being with us today. But, y'all, this was great. I love these staff chats. I love getting to know everybody better, and I'm sure there's more stuff we can dig up from our past. Jim, I've got a feeling you've got more stories for us.
Got all types of stories, and I was thinking maybe next time we do something together as a staff, we go horseback riding. Rebecca as our guide over there. 'Cause when I went to Yellowstone last summer, we went on the 1 hour horseback ride because Jeannie, you told me about going on the half day or whatever it was. And I thought, no, I'll never do that. I'm just going for 1 hour. I cannot imagine 3 days on a pony.
Me either. Me either. All right, friends. Well, tell everybody bye. It was great to be together, and we'll see you next Staff Chat. Bye.
See ya.